Okay, this is lesson 6 on our Power Stroke diesel presentation. I figured you guys probably would benefit from this. You remember, there's a little short review earlier. We talked about diesel engines, right? We talked about how they fire on compression. We talked about how they need glow plugs because it actually, when you're squeezing the air, making it hot in a cold engine, the heat from the squeezed air goes into the metal, and you have to have the glow plugs to overcome that, and so on and so forth. And then we talked about the Huey injectors and how they basically have a little intensifier piston that's 7 times bigger on the top than it is on the bottom, and whenever the oil pressure goes in there and shoves that thing down, when the solenoid opens and lets it go screaming in there, it basically causes the injector to pop. The pop pressure on it is, I think, 1,800 pounds or something. I don't remember. There's so many pop pressures I've forgotten over the years. And then we talked a little bit about the low pressure oil system, the high pressure oil system. Today, we talk about electronic controls. And this one here, you got an overview of the Power Stroke electronic control system. You've got inputs and outputs, just like you do on any other system. You got to have inputs and outputs. You got to have driver demands. What's that talking about? It's talking about your gear selector. It's talking about whether or not you set your cruise control. It's talking about how deep you are into the throttle. And it's talking about basically your demands are related to how much fuel it has to deliver and how it has to time all that. Ambient air and temperature and pressure. What's ambient air pressure? What's another name for that? Huh?
Outside air pressure?
Well, that's technically right, but that's not the term I was looking for. What else? What's outside? What's the air pressure?
Atmosphere.
Barometric pressure, right? Barometric pressure. Right. 14.5 pounds per square inch at sea level, which is why airplanes fly and all that kind of thing. Incidentally, here's a little trivia. You know the pterodactyls that they find, the hammer-headed birds that you see flying around, like that. With the air pressure that we have today and the air density, they would not even be able to get off the ground. So that means when they were alive and flying, there was more air pressure then than there is now. That also makes the plants grow better, especially if it's well seasoned. Huh? Because they can look at the way the wings work, the way the wings were designed. You know, and how much pressure it takes to, you know, for them to get lift with the weight of the bird.
Well, it's really strong.
Well, it's not the strength of the bird, it's the shape of the wings. Vehicle speed, engine temperature, engine load, engine RPM. All of this is going into the PCM. The PCM is going to process all of this. It's going to come out to fuel delivery, quantity and timing, turbocharger, boost pressure, transmission shift scheduling, and starting aid operation, which would be starting aid operation. On a diesel, you have the wait to start light and the glow plugs burn. Now on the 7.3 Power Stroke, each glow plug, when it first lights up, it burns for, well, I say that, 25 amps of current it takes to burn it. And then it drops back to 15 as it gets hot. Because it gets hot, the resistance changes. So if I take my inductive amp probe and I clip it around the big wire that's going and feeding all the glow plugs, and I turn on the key and I'm watching my amps, what am I going to see? What's 25 times 8?
A lot.
200. You guys really don't, that's just spooky now. 25 times 8 is 200, and then it's going to drop back to about 125. Right? What if I do it? What if I'm saying, oh, I've got one cylinder that's skipping when I first started up, and I hook this inductive amp probe here, and I see that it's only pulling 175 amps. Well, whoa, one of these glow plugs is burned out. So what you do there is you hook your test light up to hot, and you check each one of them to see. You know, of course, you got to pull the valve cover off on that, you know, to do it the right way. Also, there's little harnesses that, I think it's the 9930 harness that goes under, that may be not the right number, that goes from the valve cover down in there to the injectors and a glow plug that's built into the valve cover gasket. Pretty interesting how that works. All right, electronic control system. You got your IVS. This is something I borrowed. This graphic here I borrowed from Ford. IVS accelerator pedal. What's that?
That is a box. Looks like a relay.
What does it look like?
Relay?
Looks like Jesus.
FPR. What do you think about that?
It's a fuel pressure regulator.
Yeah. All right, now you're gonna get to see more of this right here. That's going, well, is this an input or an output?
Out.
That's it.
Going out.
It's going up, but
It's the input to it's output from PCM, input to the plant.
Yeah, it's, well, we'll get into that. What's this right here?
That's a freaking injector.
Yeah, this is not an injector, this is the injector control pressure transducer thing. You know, IPT. All right, so basically that thing right there is an output. And as it puts more current to there, it's actually gonna increase the injector control pressure. That's the little injector. I got one of those laying over there behind him. Right over there somewhere. Right up there, right up there. Up, over to the right there. That's it right there. Pass that around. That's what one of those looks like. Give it to him. All right.
Hey,
Is it where you should?
Can we get the keys to that video?
Oh, yeah, they're laying on my desk.
Thank you.
Engine oil temperature. What is missing from this that you would expect to be on here?
This piece.
What is missing? What would you expect to be on here if it's not there? Not the, well, not the glow plug ain't what I'm talking about. I'm seeing engine oil temperature, I'm seeing cam position, I'm seeing intake air temperature, mount, barrow. You're not seeing crank position, are you? Because it ain't got that. It don't read that, not on this one. What else are you missing?
Oil pressure.
Well, you don't need to have necessarily that. Oh, well, you actually got an injector control pressure sensor, but as far as engine oil pressure, no, they don't have that. But what you're also missing, this is engine oil temperature, but you don't see engine coolant temperature on here. It couldn't care less about the temperature of the coolant, it's more concerned about the temperature of the oil. This is a 7.3 now, this is what I'm talking about. Of course, you got your, what is that right there? That's the injector driver module. Now, on some of the vans I used to see, because of the way, you know, they've got all this stuff so that when you have a wreck, they've got these little hooks that catch the hood and keep the hood from going in there cutting your head off. You know what I'm talking about? They're made to design for that. There's a hole where that little hook goes in. It's right over on some of the vans back in the 90s. The hole is right over the injector driver module. So when it comes a good hard rain, that water's going to go in there and wet the injector driver module and mess it up. I don't know how many times I had to replace the injector driver module because they got wet because it rained in there. I don't know what they were thinking about when they put that in the flat. And I don't even know that there was a fix for that, but I used to do stuff to keep it dry and get a replacement. All vehicles equipped with a 7.3 direct injection turbo engine, the electronic engine control system can be divided into 7 different subsystems. Driver command, air temperature and pressure, vehicle speed, engine temperature, which is engine oil temperature, not engine coolant temperature, engine load and engine RPM, and some of the outputs control are fuel delivery, turbocharger, boost pressure, transmission shift scheduling, starting aid operation. Okay, so here we go. Engine control subsystem. You got fuel injector, high pressure oil wastegate control. What's a wastegate control for? What's wastegate control used for?
It's all the codes. It's for your turbo.
Keep it from overboosting, right? Don't want to overboost. You knew that. You knew that. Don't. Oh, face palm.
That's from the other class.
Yeah, glow plug control system, exhaust back pressure control system, electric fuel supply subsystem. When you switch on the key on a gas burner, how long does the fuel pump run when you just switch on the key without spinning it?
Second or
2 seconds. On this, it runs 20 seconds. Now, this is the second generation Power Stroke that I'm talking about. There's not an electric fuel supply system on the older ones. Now, that actually came out in the second generation. Speed control subsystem. I used to put cruise control on some of these by just putting switches on the steering wheel and a brake pressure switch, because everything else was already built in. If it got speed control inputs, it would operate because there's no throttle cable, right? It's all electronic. It's drive-by-wire, dual generator subsystem. Some of them have 2 generators on them. They have a generator down here and a generator up here. And transmission PTO control system. This is on ambulances. It's a little box here. It's basically hooked in there where you can idle it up whenever you're sitting there idling for a long time, whenever you're in a crash. Engine control subsystem, there's your PCM, there's your injector driver module. You notice you got the little 3 inputs to that. And this basically is the second generation because it's got the little long connectors in there. And there's your fuel injector control subsystem. That's what the connector looks like that plugs into that valve cover there. All right, the fuel injector control subsystem has got a powertrain control module, injector driver module, hydraulically actuated injector. We've already talked about those. No reason to be acting on there, that it receives signals indicating engine RPM and the position of cylinders 1 and 4. That's interesting, isn't it? Cylinders 1 and 4. Now, what is the firing order on an old 302? An old 302, you remember? Anybody know? You know you're supposed to have all those firing orders memorized, the ones I've always telling you all the time. 154266378. That's the firing order on one of those. Now this one right here, the cylinders are numbered different than a regular Ford vehicle because this was made by International, Navistar International. But if you looked at the pattern of the firing order, this 7.3 has got the same firing order pattern as an old Ford, 154266378. But the cylinders aren't numbered the same way. You see what I'm saying? Because the cylinders are numbered different, the firing order's actually technically different. All right. High pressure oil control subsystem is right here. See how this works? There's your ICP sensor on that rail. These rails are built into the heads. They just showing a piece of them. There's your regulator, which is the thing I had him pass around. I don't know where that thing is. And there's your high pressure oil pump right there. And there's your oil rails. Get your high pressure hoses and all that. And so on and so forth. Now you remember it's got to have at least 500 PSI showing at the ICP sensor or it won't even operate the injector. It's also got to have more than a certain amount of voltage there, even on these gas burners. You might hear that Ranger spin over if the voltage goes below about 7 volts. When you're spinning it over, it may sound like it's spinning okay, but it won't even operate the injector because the voltage is too low. PCM's watching that voltage. All right, now this right here is your wastegate control system. There's your wastegate control solenoid. There's your wastegate control actuator, air running to the turbo. This goes to the cylinder heads, and this is the charge air cooler housing. You know what an intercooler is? What do you do with an intercooler? You cool the air. When you're squeezing air with a turbocharger or a supercharger, you're going to have to cool it off if you want to get the maximum benefit of that. Because when you compress air, it gets hot, right? When it gets hot, there's less molecules of oxygen in a cubic inch of air. So you want to cool that off before you put it in there. It actually gives you more power. So they got these big old hoses. If any of these clamps on these big old hoses gets loose when that turbocharger is putting pressure through them, it'll make whistling noises, and we just have to work on that. A wastegate is only used on vehicles with a charge air cooler system because if you overboost one that doesn't have a charge air cooler, there's nothing that it can blow anyway. That charge air cooler has got these big pipes and all that, and it can actually bust the charge air cooler because it's got that big old thing, looks like a big old radiator that these big hoses go down there to. They just stuff all kinds of stuff in there. Now there's your glow plug control subsystem. And there's your glow plug relay, and then from B plus from EEC power relay. Of course, you see you still got EEC power on that one there, and there's your PCM operating that. The California glow plug system is different because the California trucks needed to know the PCM to be able to check if any one glow plug was burned out.
Things walking away from you.
It sure is. Didn't mean to do that. All right, there we go. And there's that thing, the exhaust back pressure control subsystem. It's got a little solenoid in there. See that little piston? There's that little regulator. And the exhaust back pressure actuator right there is actually going to close. You can actually look back there and see that thing. And whenever you fire it up and whenever you're running through your tests and all, you can actually see that oil piston moving that flap back and forth. When the engine's cold, like below 40 degrees, when the oil's cold, it's basically going to close that flapper to force that engine to get warm quicker so you can get cabin heat. You know, you don't want to be, if you ain't got cabin heat, a lot of times you have trouble defrosting your windshield, and that's a bad thing. All right, speed control subsystem got to do with your cruise control buttons. And there's also a brake pressure switch that actually, whenever you hit the brake, when I hit the brake, how much pressure is going out on the brake lines? Like 2,000 pounds of pressure out on the lines. Well, that switch closes at like 400 PSI, whenever you mash it. But you'd be surprised, you know, because of the leverage you got on that pedal and the way that you when you mash the brake, it doesn't take much braking to get that thing over 400 PSI, and that drops the cruise out. Okay. Transmission. Oh, also sometimes those little brake pressure switches will start to leak, and whenever they start to leak, they'll actually push fluid through the wire harness, and it'll get into other connectors and short things out. General Motors eons ago used to have engine coolant sensors that would leak, And these sealed connectors out there, had those seals in there, that coolant would go through that sealed connector and the pressure would shove it through the wire and would go in there and you start having all kinds of problems. You pull the engine controller out and pour antifreeze out of it. Because those engine coolant sensors do that. But power takeoff is an auxiliary drive unit, power the transmission, and it goes in there and, you know, operates the stuff like a pump or something that you'd have on the side, you know, where you are using like a wrecker. It's got a hydraulic pump to operate your rear, you know, all that stuff. And, or if you got a fuel truck, you know, that's hauling fuel or has to have some kind of a pump on it for that. So there's other things that you use that for, you know, power takeoff around. A dual generator subsystem, you got a primary generator and a secondary generator. Some of them, because of heavy use for special applications, may be ordered with a secondary generator. And during glow plug operation, the PCM disables the secondary generator to limit available voltage to the glow plugs. High voltage could cause damage to the glow plugs. And because the damage to the glow plugs is bad, it's not our friend. And in that drawer right there, right here, somewhere around here, this is a glow plug for one of these. That is one of the glow plugs. You know, you can hook the power and ground to it and it gets red hot. And all that. All right, so,
Never seen one.
yeah, well, stick out your tongue. All right, so.
All right.
Now, here's your review question. Get your piece of paper that you've already numbered. You know, start with 1. The 7.3 DIT electronic engine control system is divided into how many subsystems? 7 subsystems. Which of the following is not an electronic engine control output? A, turbocharger boost pressure. B, transmission shift schedule. C, starting aid operation. Or D, engine load.
Engine load.
Engine load can't be an output, can it? I mean, this is basically an input. The blank and blank systems are responsible for controlling fuel timing and delivery.
Camshaft. Pollution sensor. Wait, no, oil system. High pressure oil system.
The high pressure oil system is one of them, and what else? It's an open-ended question, you know. You gotta think about what you've been learning.
Boy, timing, I'm still gonna say the camshaft system.
Well, you're thinking about a sensor, I'm talking about a system.
The fuel system.
Yeah, well, you know, you basically got your fuel injector control module that operates the injectors based on what the PCM tells it. And so that's basically the electronic injection system for, and it opens up and lets that oil go down there and operate those injectors, right? But without the oil, without the high oil pressure, the high pressure oil system, you got no injector operation. As long as you understand that, I'm not gonna beat you over the head with that one. The high pressure oil system is used to do what?
Fuel, operate fuel injectors.
Yeah. Now the exhaust back pressure valve is operated by lube oil pressure, but not the high oil pressure. Right. And on the later ones that had the variable geometry turbocharger on them, there was lube oil pressure they used for that too. They use lube oil pressure for hydraulic purposes a lot of the time. The system that has the greatest effect on assisting with cold starts is the what? The glow plug control subsystem. All right. Now then, we got about 10 minutes to go before the class is over, so we're going to go into the powertrain control system. This is lesson 6A. That's another graphic I borrowed from Ford. Inputs. This is what's that?
That is a sensor. All that?
It's a PCM.
Actually, the throttle position sensor and the idle validation switch are both part of the accelerator pedal. If the idle validation switch and the throttle position sensor don't agree, it won't do anything except idle, and you have to replace the whole pedal. You can't just replace the sensor. No. Okay. What's this right here? That's the cam position sensor. Cam position sensor, right? What's that one right there? Now that would be your idle validation switch right there, I believe. Okay, what about that one there?
Actuator.
No, that's an engine oil temperature switch sensor. And this right here,
Your injector, unit pressure.
injector control pressure regulator. No, that's the regulator. This is a sensor, I'm sorry. And What about that one right there? That's mounted up inside the dash. That's the barometric pressure sensor. This right here is the map sensor, manifold absolute pressure. Measure and boost, you know. IDM, which is basically between the injectors and the PCM. Oh, by the way, these injectors operate on 115 volts, so don't get your test light out and go in there, you know what I'm saying? And there she got, what's that?
That is your growth program.
I don't have time to fool with all the rest of these. Now, what is that right there?
That is powertrain control module.
Powertrain control module. All right, accelerator pedal sensor, idle validation switch, cam position, electronic feedback signal, look at there. Engine oil temp switch, manifold air temp sensor, barometric pressure, manifold air pressure sensor, exhaust noise feedback sensor. Now look at this, you got your cylinder ID signal, and you got your IDM enable relay, fuel delivery control signal, injection control pressure regulator, which is the thing you got in your hand over there, and your wastegate control cylinder. Got that? Yeah, that's all worked together. There's another thing that's in here that they don't talk about, it's the fuel heater. Yeah?
You just have to walk the speech class.
Huh?
You still have to walk the speech class.
You still gotta walk to speech class? How long does that take? So what you're saying is you drive your truck to the student center, but you walk to speech class?
Oh, yeah, we can drive.
Yeah. We'll be through in a minute. You're not gonna be late. If she fusses it, you tell her that my class wasn't quite over it yet. All right. Receives inputs to indicate accelerator pedal position, engine RPM, and camshaft position information, and it receives signal to indicate engine temp, intake, manifold, and barometric pressure. Uses that to control the IDM. Not working. Energizes the injectors with 115 volts, and the two high side drivers in the IDM. Now look at this. This is important. If you don't get anything else, high side drivers and low side drivers. So it's powering up all the injectors, and then it's delivering ground power to them. These injectors have about 2 ohms of resistance per injector. The lower your ohms, the faster they're going to operate. If you got 115 volts going into a 2 ohm injector, it's going to operate with blazing speed, right? Injector driver module enables an output of the PCM that is used on to energize the IDM relay, which will provide power to the IDM. And that's the schematic right there. You have to memorize that. There will be a pop test on that on Monday. Okay, you can take care of that. And then there's another one here. And this is another one. This is how it's all wired up, and you got to be able to find all those pins and everything. Power takeoff, supplied by the bodybuilder. All right, this is the last slide that we're going to show you, and then you can go and carry your toolbox. Okay. Do you have a bag? You better have. That's all I got to say. You can carry a spit bottle. That's probably something you ought to have. Probably something you ought to have in your dadgum toolbox for your me bag. You know? Yeah. The IDM receives 2 digital control signals. And a cylinder ID signal, don't tear up my chair, fuel delivery signal, control, and electronic feedback signal, and it synchronizes. The cylinder identification signal goes that way, electronic feedback signal comes back, fuel delivery control signal goes that way, and the IDM does that. Now look at that, there's number 1 TEC on your camshaft position sensor signal. It's used to generate the CID. It uses this to generate that and that. Okay, the ones that are going that way. And the electronic feedback signal is used to send DPC information about the IDM injectors, electrical portion to the PCM. This is an easy slide to remember, so this is the one we'll return to whenever we resume our class the next time we have a session on this thing right here. I hope you got something out of that.